Drag and drop
I would
tools.
love that.
You too can create the website of your dreams. And then like you show that he has all the equipment, but it's not. Dude, we should make that. That'd be really fun. So obviously whatever we're talking about is hilarious. And if you want to find out what the joke is, stick around. But first, what I wanted to show you is that I was able to work with an automated robot arm recently, and I put a couple of our mugs in front of the lens, and I just wanted to show you how they came out. Okay, that's enough coolness. I think I'm only allowed to be cool like 2 to 3 minutes a day. One of the blessings of having the really late night office is having a space that I can catch up with friends. So I recently asked my friend James Lane to come by to just chat. If you don't know James, he hosts a radio spot on 92.9 FM. You might have seen him play the Underground Music Showcase. And to add to his collection of adventures, he was also a contestant on The Price is Right. And I was able to uncover a video. So we're gonna go and watch that, and then I wanna play a game with James here. So whenever you could cue up that video, The Price is Right. Let's check it out.
Nice to meet you, James. What's going on?
Dude.
Yeah, and that was 25, but I would say at 26, that's when I was like, okay, I need to like really get it together. And 26, 27, 28, 29, yeah, like definitely I became myself, I think. I started to grow into myself, and now I just turned 30. I feel like next year I'm gonna just be like some old dude, basically, because I'm 30 now, you know?
Yeah. Well, one of my friends, he recently turned, I think he turned 43 on Facebook.
Wow.
I mean, I guess in real
He
life.
turned 43 on
Facebook. But I like, you know, he's kind of like us. Like he dresses like, you know, like relatively young. Like he's not like wearing like, you know, what do like old people wear? Like a trolley uniform.
I was gonna say Tommy Bahamas.
Yeah, right. And like, you know, he's a filmmaker, and I just was like, you know what? I don't think like that, like that's not really that old. And like if we're doing what we want, like in 10 years, like I don't know about you, but I feel like from like 0 to 20 doesn't really count because you're in like all these like systems, right?
Yeah,
you're like
definitely.
You don't have agency, you don't have like say in what you do, what you make.
Seriously, yeah.
And then like all of a sudden you're like 21 and you're let out into the world.
Oh my
and then
God,
like
yeah.
It sounds like you had like 5 awkward years. And then I had like more like 7, you know? And then I got to this point and was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And like, really, I feel like, all right, what could you build? If you work on something every day, what could you build in 10 years time?
Oh,
you know?
yeah, seriously.
Like,
yeah, that's so true, man. Dude, that's so true, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting, because I was thinking when you were saying that, even your writing style gets different. You know, as me, as a musician, the songs I was writing when I started this band, The Shaky Experience, in 2010. In January 2010, I just got out of a 1-year relationship with this girl from Estonia, and it was a pretty interesting relationship. And I was like, man, I'm gonna get out all this angst. And I was writing like the most dumbest songs on earth. I wrote a song called "Stroke It Alone." wrote another one called Kicking Out the Cat. And it's just like, just these really dumb punk songs that had no meaning at all. Over time, I started to write better. I remember, like, we have, like, 3 albums, and we're writing our 4th one's finished, but we're recording it very soon. The second album, it got, like, a little bit better, but still it's just like, this is really dumb. And then third, it's starting to make somewhat sense, and now the 4th one, I'm like, I'm actually really proud of this album. Right. Like, the writing style is way better, and it makes more sense than kicking out a cat of your house.
Right, yeah.
Like that, yeah.
What are you, like, working on, like, kind of immediately? Or where do you, like, want to focus on? Because I want to focus on, like, doing this, like, reality segments and doing, like, finishing this late night show how I want to. What are you... Because I know you do a lot of, like, radio DJ... music. Where do you want to go specifically, or is that not?
No, that's really cool. So I will say that I have 2.5 albums written right now, and I desperately want to release them. I think that they sound really, really good in my opinion, and they're catchy, which is like the best part. So basically, yesterday I released a track called Verbal Escalation, and it was about someone I dated for a couple of months, and just kind of relationship stuff, you know? And that's going to be on an EP that I'm releasing in January. Zach Palmquist produced.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Zach. He's a cool cat.
The EP is going to be called Hookup Culture 2020 Part 1.
Whoa. I like that title.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm excited to release that hopefully in January. I think sometime in maybe spring, maybe towards Record Store Day, I'm hoping to release my full length as Pelvis Presley. This will be my 3rd album, and it's going to be called Lower 48s. And
cool.
And Lower 48s, that has a lot of sides to it. There's definitely a lot of emotions and different things going on in there. I was standing in a bathroom line in Denver here, just a few blocks away actually, at a friend's party. My friend was having a house party, and this girl comes up to me and she was like talking to me, and she was like, wow, like, you are such a person that is from the lower 48s, aren't you? And I was like, I don't know what that is. And they were like, Uranium. And I was like, that's such a good album title. I'm gonna use that as the album title. Lower 48s. And then the 3rd album that we have is going to be me and Tom, and that's going to be our 4th album. We haven't released that album since 2015, so we're pretty excited. It'll be our 10-year anniversary next year together too. So that album is going to be called More Famous Than Food.
I like that. You have really good titles.
Thank you. So I'm excited to release these. That's something I'm working on. Just continuing doing FM radio here at 92.9 FM, 89.3 HD3. It's been an absolute honor to do FM radio. I feel super blessed for that, and I feel that I've got to interview some awesome guests. I hope to continue to interview awesome guests, and I'd like to continue to do student films. Student films is something I get a lot of joy out of. I love doing like little cameo work or acting work and stuff like that. That's something I really love.
Can I tell you what just went off in my brain?
Yes.
You know what'd be fun?
What?
Is keep doing like student films, but like keep cataloging them, and like have eventually release like some sort of montage with all of your like student films, and you would be like, I am like probably the most like prolific student film actor, and you can make like a little like a funny documentary about it, and then you could be as playful with it as like take yourself as seriously in it as you want, of like, I've done 3,000, just like you could do it mockumentary style of like, I had this dream of becoming the best student actor.
That's amazing. I've heard of someone doing that as an extra.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think. Like,
I saw a YouTube little video of someone who stitched together all their like extra work. And
that's genius. That's so good. I was gonna say, I was actually at Dave & Buster's last night, and I was there for a kind of a going away thing. I obviously hosted the online radio show / podcast at Met Radio for about 2 years. And, I got a lot of value out of that, and they were kind of throwing a going away party for 2 people that are going away there. And the current GM at the radio there, him and I were talking, and I was kind of asking him how his transition helped him move to the person he is today, because I could tell that I was like, I bet this guy was like a party animal just like me when I was younger. And sure enough, I was right. He was like, oh yeah, man, I was a mess. I was bouncing back and forth from, I think he said, Minnesota to Colorado, and just drinking and partying with my friends and just looking for the hottest chick or whatever the case is. And he said the transition was really, really hard for him at first, because he never thought in a million years he would be hosting a radio show and doing production nights and all these amazing things. He's providing so much value to me and the rest of the team. And I asked him what was one of the key components of him becoming this person, and he said, stop drinking. He actually doesn't drink. Why aren't you having a beer? And he was like, because I don't drink anymore, I don't party anymore, or something like that. And I was like, that's really cool, man. That's so awesome that you were finding yourself and developing into this really professional, mature person by quitting vices. I guess. Yeah.
No, totally. I mean, I tell people who because I had to quit because it just was completely unmanageable. But for some people, they'll just take breaks, and I really try to encourage them to just stick with it a little longer, even if it's not a problem.
Yeah.
To just take a break from it, because
that sounds
personally, my creativity was just so much broader and more intense after I quit.
Yeah.
I think because my brain was muffled, that then once it was kind of lifted off for a long period of time.
Yeah. I just like to pick people's brains about the transitions that they made in order to become a better person of who they are now. Because I suspect that everybody that I associate myself with, whether it's a friend, a colleague, whatever the case is, I assume that everybody that I associate with has some type of baggage that they've had in their past at one point, or even present. And I really want to hear their story, because it helps me develop my story as well into hopefully being a better person. Hopefully that either if that person is going through the transition now and they're just starting to develop into a better person, hopefully my story helps them, or vice versa. Hopefully their story helps me. Hopefully it's a two-way street here. Hopefully it's compatible to where we're both helping each other with transitioning into a more sweeter person, I guess. I don't know.
So that's kind of where you're at right now? You're kind of working on yourself?
Yeah, man. So I actually feel like I have changed so much in the past. I don't even know. Since my aunt's passing, I would say. Since July 2nd. My aunt passed away July 2nd, and that was the most important person in my life by far. She adopted me, and I was in foster care prior to that. So she means a lot to me, and she unfortunately passed away. So that being said, I realized that I need to make huge, significant changes in my life to feel somewhat okay. Because if you're just staying the same person as when someone passes away in your life, I'd imagine that it would be a lot more detrimental to someone's mental health. At least that's my opinion. I mean, someone could definitely prove me wrong. I'm sure that that's not completely accurate or factual, but yeah, to each their own. It's subjective.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and I would say that it's really sad, but I feel really blessed with where I'm at now. I think that how I dealt with this coping is just meditation, prayer, exercise. I run, I eat, I'm vegetarian. What's the other ones? I don't even know. The self-reflection, all this stuff. If I wouldn't do that stuff, man, I could be in solitary confinement. That's I mean, it's crazy to say that out loud. Like, I'm saying that while he's filming it and you're in front of me, but like, that's how I feel. Like, I feel like she was that important to me that I literally would lose my mind if she died, and she did. And I am happy to sit in front of, like, be normal or whatever.
And you got to keep all the pieces in place or else it would fall.
Exactly, yeah.
What's funny, I found an old box because my mom moved and she gave me a box of old stuff, and I found like old writings from myself in like high school, and I remember just
That's awesome.
I found some stuff that like I was like, oh, the world is so hard, and I had no idea how much harder it's gonna get, you know? And it's just like, oh, at that point, I don't know what it is, but just emotionally there's like a lot going on, I think, for us. And just like I've been learning kind of like new coping mechanisms, and like I think like in my late 20s, that's when I was like, things got so difficult that it almost became like comical, you know? Whereas when I was young, it was like just existential dread. But then like halfway through, it was just like, wow, things get worse and worse. And it's like funny almost of like, just throw it on the pile. Like, it doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah. What are some coping mechanisms you use, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, one thing I know is eating better. Like, even today, I had to just get a salad, even though I wanted like chili cheese fries.
From 7-Eleven?
Yeah, I know. And it's like, it's so close. It's so close. And like, I can just tell the difference when I'm eating healthy.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like,
awesome.
my mood, I'll be in just a bad mood if I don't eat right, you know?
That's interesting, yeah.
So
I started this thing. My birthday was December 5th, so it was really recent. And I started this new tradition. I decided that I'm going to do this new thing that's going to hopefully help my life in some ways. And I found this article that was like 30 challenging questions you should ask yourself in self-reflection. And I composed an email, and I wrote, I pasted those 30 questions, and then I answered them honestly. And then I sent that email to an email I don't use so much. And I plan on doing that every month on the 5th. And then on December 5th, 2020, which will be my 31st birthday, I'm going to open up all those emails and see how I was feeling. Like,
whoa, yeah.
So it'll just be self-reflection, but kind of seeing where I came from in those times.
Right. So wait, what are like the questions about again?
Yeah. So it's they are so simple, man. Like, there's like 30 of them. It says, "Who am I?" Then I don't know. Like, you answer that question. It's just like, for me, you know, I'm James Lane, and I'm a guy from Baltimore that loves entertaining and does marketing. Maybe, I don't know what I would say, something along those lines. And then it's like, do I even really matter? And then like just stuff like that. And then it just goes more and more in depth. And it's like, I remember one of them was like, would I help someone that's like starving or something like that? I don't know. And
I mean, that seems cool just to give yourself time, because I feel like for the most part we can neglect ourselves and kind of like be neglected in general.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that with self-reflection, it really helps you understand who you actually are. Because like, you know, if someone like put you on the spot right now, who are you? You're like, I don't know, Matt. It's like, yeah, but who are you? And then it's just like, you know, now to have that mindset, I'm just like, okay, this is who I am. This is the path that I'm following. And then I look at myself and like, am I happy though saying that that's who I am? Am I happy to say that, you know, I'm an entertainer that does like freelance marketing? I'd say, yeah, I like that like label for myself, because that's what I enjoy doing. So.
Yeah. I've been really fortunate that a lot of my friends are, and I don't know if it's because of age or just culturally, there's a lot of people who are really focusing on like well-being and mental health. And it's just a careful reminder, because I've been working on, you know, a lot of projects and stuff. And part of that is like, you know, working on self-promotion. But as a part of my sobriety, it's also really important for me to be working on self-improvement. And this week I feel like I'm a little out of whack that, I haven't gone to a meeting. I've been looking into kind of going to see a therapist regularly, and I just keep putting that on the bottom of the to-do list. And talking to James, reminded me that these things are pretty paramount. And while, it is important to be dedicated to your work and your craft and to strike a balance, that you really do have to work hard on these things. And that's something that I've been really trying to get back to. I think in a couple years, it will be totally normal for everyone to have a podcast. So instead of just writing a Facebook post, you would just record onto your phone all your thoughts. And then if I was hey, let me see what James is up to, I would just put on your podcast instead of interacting with you per se, and then just catching up with you,
In theory, yes.
I think it will become that. But I might be wrong.
In theory, yes, but then, because with a post, you just, you literally just read that through that in 2 seconds, basically. It's such a short amount of time. With a podcast, you'd have to press play and listen for a few minutes. But what if, seriously though, what if somebody did want to hear what's going on in your life for a few minutes?
Right.
That almost sounds it reminds me if I was got trapped on an island by myself. It's day 44. I'm 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 starting to eat the bark off of the tree, and then it's hey, let me publish that to my Facebook account so people know what I'm up to.
Oh my god, that's a pretty good sketch idea. Just Castaway the podcast.
Yeah.
Podcastaway.
Podcastaway.
Hey. Oh, I know, I got it. And it's today I'm getting this tree bark, and also this episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Easy drag and drop tools.
I would love that.
You too can create the website of your dreams. And then you show he has all the equipment, but it's not plugged into anything.
Yeah, and you look like Tom Hanks or Castaway with the beard.
Dude, we should make that. That'd be really
fun. Casper mattresses, get the 20%.
Yeah, right. Be I miss everyone so much. This island's so lonely. Oh, which reminds me, if you have some alone time, try Audible.
Podcast away. Oh my god, I love that so much.
Sorry, I'm getting over a cold, so my voice is a little off, so bear with me. I really enjoyed talking to James Lane, and I figured since I showed clips from his previous songs and we talked about growth and progression, it made sense for his new song that he produced to carry out the episode of this day to day. So thank you so much for watching, and enjoy.
Slowly but surely, I've been establishing residency in your bedroom. I took out that vacancy sign months ago. The services I've received here are some of the best I've ever had. I left a positive review in my phone's notes. When we woke up in the morning, I made you late for work, but I did make you breakfast. We listened to the daily news as per usual. This guilty pleasure thing has become more than just a thing. It's been growing, and I still am puzzled by what we are. I could narrate your life. Mesmerized by the routine, it's simplified, but I crave it in mine. And when we finally go to bed, it's 4 a.m. and the conversation is just ending. I start thinking, I can't read your mind, but I can try. Tapping into your psyche, give me the rush that I need. Feed the verbal escalation to me. Now I need to know, did I make the cut and did I make the team?